Good evening. I'm Leslie Collum, co-president of the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and it is my pleasure to welcome you tonight to this public forum for Rutherford County offices. Before we begin, I would like to thank the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce for their co-sponsorship of this event. I would also like to thank the Rutherford County Government Access Channel, Chasen Haynes of the Chamber, and Judy Powell of the League for organizing this event and making it available to the viewing audience. I now want to remind our live audience of a few rules. No pens, signs, or other visual expression of a candidate preference will be permitted. We also ask that you not applaud or otherwise respond to the remarks of our candidates. Please hold all applause for the conclusion of the forum. Also, we ask your cooperation in staying in your seats until the forum has concluded. I would now like to turn it over to our moderator for the evening.
Good evening. I'm Jean Ann Rogers, and I will serve as moderator for the forum this evening. The forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, and Rutherford County Office of Technology. It is my pleasure to welcome both our audience here at the County Courthouse and our viewers at home to this evening's program. Tonight, we will hear remarks from the County Commission candidates for Districts 19, 20, and 21. Before introducing the candidates, I would like to outline the procedure for tonight's forum. Each candidate will be allowed 1 minute to make an opening statement. When all candidates have completed their opening statement, the first of several questions will be asked. Each candidate will be given 30 seconds to answer each question. 1 minute will be allowed for the last question. I will begin by introducing the candidates. They are each seeking election to a seat that is important to the citizens of Rutherford County, and we hope to hear them address these important issues facing all of us. I want to thank them for their gracious acceptance of our invitation to participate in this event. First, running in District 19, you may begin your opening statement as Ms. Joyce Ely.
Joyce Ely. I am the County Commissioner representing District 19. I consider my work on the County Commission to be my community service. I have served on various committees during my tenure on the Commission. This experience has given me a working knowledge of county government. I have facilitated 8 budget cycles as chairman of the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee. This experience has given me a broad perspective of the needs of the county. The budget process is complex and tedious. It demands a great deal of study and scrutiny. I have proven that I am willing to give the time and effort it takes to promote essential services based on sound fiscal management. My experience and my knowledge of the budget process is critical.
And also in District 19, we have Mr. Gabriel Fancher.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Fancher, and I'm running in District 19. The reason I'm running is because I feel that our county government has many of the same problems that our federal government has. It's lost touch with the people that it's supposed to serve. We have more taxes and more fees and more regulation. The people I talk to when I'm out knocking on doors, they want freedom. They want a government body that understands the pain that they're suffering. Some have lost their jobs. Some have lost their houses. And most of them have lost much of their savings through these recent years. Local government should be the most in touch. Our county commission is the first line of defense for we the people. Our county commission should be the voice of the common man. The county commission must let those in Nashville and those in Washington, D.C. know what the people of Rutherford County are dealing with. I want to be that voice. I've knocked on many doors and talked to many concerned people.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher. In District 20, first we have Mr. Steve Irwin.
Hi, my name is Steve Irwin. I'm running for County Commissioner, District 20. I'm a father of 6 kids. I have a wife named Debbie. I've been a school teacher for 12 years at Lighthouse Christian School in Nashville. And I believe my experience in business and my master's degree in business and just hearing the people in our community, knowing what they want and listening to the people in the community is giving me a heads up on this job. I think people are sick of the arrogance in politics today by politicians running the government the way they want it ran, not the way the people want it ran. My ideal platform would be to give the government back to the people and let it be established the way it was set up to be. Let the people have the say in the government, and their say would be recognized. I also believe that my experience as a law enforcement officer in Nashville has also given me a heads up as far as crime and different things that we may have to face in Rutherford County. And I'd just like the opportunity to be your commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Mr. Gooch, Mr. Trey Gooch.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Trey Gooch. I live on Manson Pike in the Blackman community. I am married. I have 3 children, a grandson and another one on the way. I have 2 dogs. I am employed with Walgreens Drugstore as a store manager. I went to MTSU with a degree in public administration with a master's degree in educational leadership. I am the current commissioner in District 20, which represents the Blackman and the Florence communities, and I'm asking you to return me. And if you do, I promise to be honest and fair and represent your values and treat your tax dollars in a very conservative, physical manner. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the League of Women Voters, the Chamber of Commerce, and Rutherford County TV for sponsoring this event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. And we have Mr. Christopher Jordan.
Hello, my name is Christopher Jordan, and I'm running for County Commissioner for District 20. I'm a new voice, a new vision, and a new change for this county. I'm currently a state employee, a law enforcement officer for the state, and working for the state has given me a chance to work in different communities, listen for the needs and wants of the community. There's a lot of situations out in the community that need to be brought to the County Commission's attention. And as a person in that community, I feel that our needs have not been met in our district. So the reason why I'm running for County Commissioner is to have a new change and a new vision for the county.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. In District 21, first we have Miss Patsy Briley.
Thank you. My name is Patsy Briley. I am married to Jim Briley. We have 5 children, 4 girls, 1 boy, 11 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, 1 great-grandchild on the way, and 1 grandchild on the way. I own my own business. I am a hair salon owner in my home, small business. I am retired from Nissan after 25.5 years. Prior to that, I worked at Daniels Construction for 2 years to help build Nissan. At Nissan, I was the quality assurance inspector, and I just want to give back to the community what has been given to me. I have been very, very blessed over the years to have such a great job and a great place to call home. And I want to give back to this place that I live, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Briley. Mr. Jim Daniel.
I'm Jim Daniel. I'm presently the incumbent in this business. I know incumbents aren't favored these days, but I happen to be one, and I am who you see. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from the American University in Washington, D.C. in speech and English. I have a law degree, Juris Doctor from the George Washington University National Law Center in Washington, D.C., and right out of there, I went into Lyndon Johnson's anti-poverty program. And I worked with the Job Corps for about 4 years, then transferred to Memphis with the VA, after which I moved to Murfreesboro in 1974 to practice law with my brother Scott Daniel and a bunch of people.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Next, we have Mr. Shanto Serino.
Thank you. My name is Shanto Serino. I was born and raised in Laos, the country Laos. I came to the United States in 1972 to admit to MTSU, and I have been in the Rutherford County District 21 since that time. I gained my undergraduate and graduate degree from MTSU, and also continue to work on my certified for guidance and counseling at TSU and also MTSU. Have been working with the Rutherford County for 28 years, and prior to that, I was a school teacher over in Laos too, and also worked with the American Embassy, taught them to speak the language, be able to speak the language. Also, Christian missionary to speak to read the Laotian language. I'm so delighted to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. We will now begin our questions, and for 30 seconds you can respond. If elected, what would you like to accomplish during your term in office? Mr. Fancher, you will begin.
Great. Currently, we have over $1 billion in debt here in the county. Our unemployment rate is 10%, maybe more. The river our drinking water comes from is being polluted by an out-of-control dump, and our taxes are some of the highest in the state. My goals are to clean up our debt, bring more jobs to our county, and make sure our drinking water is clean. And most importantly, I want to lower our taxes so that we're more competitive with our surrounding counties. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher. Mr. Irwin.
I think what we need to do for the county is to look at our growth. We don't want to grow faster than our infrastructure will allow. I think a lot of the problems facing Rutherford County today are problems of growing pains and making sure that our infrastructure is keeping up with the growth. Building a street that's supposed to handle 150,000 cars, that handles 350,000 cars daily, it's just not going to hold up. We also need to look at that seriously.
Mr. Gooch.
Right now, we're currently studying a comprehensive growth plan for Rutherford County, and I would like to see that through, and I would like to see a plan adopted next year. Basically, our plan is to know how we're going to grow in the county in the next few years, so that all the individuals and developers know what can go where. For example, if an outside developer wants to bring in a major theme park in our residential subdivisions, we would have the ability to say, no, you need to take it somewhere else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. Mr. Jordan.
Well, I would like to set the foundation for a new prosperity for our economy and our families, with transportation choices, responsible environmental preservation, and genuine leadership. I'd also like to help improve the working relationship between the county and the city officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Ms. Briley.
Yes, I would like to see the schools to continue to improve. They are doing a great job at teaching our children. I would also like to see more recycling, because if we don't, there's not going to be enough products to go around by the time our children reach that age. And I would also like to see the elderly taken care of better.
Thank you, Ms. Briley. Mr. Daniel.
I would like to implement the Legal Services County Attorney contract just adopted that leads to an in-house counsel. Get an agreement with our legislative delegation to meet with the Commission on a quarterly basis, explain limitations of the Commission's powers, and work with the schools to be sure our children are taught that ours is a government of limited powers, why the principles of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are valid.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Mr. Serino.
Thank you. If elected, I would love to, to try to do my best during the term in the office, and I would like to support education. I know I got involved with education throughout many, many years, even though in Laos, and I came to this country also. It's over 30 years, totally probably about 40 years, including service in Laos and in here. I love these communities so much. That's why I call this Rutherford County home.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Ms. Ely.
I would want to accomplish the improvement of essential services to our citizens while maintaining a budget with a stable tax rate. Good schools, safe neighborhoods, efficient ambulance service, and responsible planning for the future would compose a major part of my commitment to the citizens of Rutherford County.
Thank you, Ms. Ely. The next question is, what is your vision for Rutherford County in 20 years? Mr. Irwin, you'll answer first.
Well, I think it all revolves around our infrastructure again and education. You know, we have to make sure that we're educating our kids to take over the responsibilities that we now have. I would like to see some type of plan implemented to where colleges and high schools both would require some type of community involvement with the kids in high school and get them involved in the community early, and also get them involved in college so they would be able to take the roles of us when they get ready.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Mr. Gooch?
I think the best way, the vision that I could have for Rutherford County in the next 20 years is to maintain and to continue our quality of life. And what that means is to have high expectations for educational systems, to provide a 21st century classroom for our children, to actively recruit jobs, and we can do this by continuing to work with the Chamber of Commerce, the Industrial Development Board, and Destination Rutherford to recruit high-paying jobs, and to maintain our parks and our infrastructures, our roads, streets, and bridges, quality of life.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch.
Thank you.
Mr. Jordan?
Well, I want to have an adequate public safety by completing neighborhood sidewalks, installing adequate water drainage, because we've had a lot of floods in our district and many other districts. We need adequate storm drainages to keep the damages down and disasters like we've had on May. And I've also like to have proper street lighting in most districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Ms. Briley?
I would like to take care of the people that are here and to continue to grow, because without growth, you know, where will we be? We need our children to have a decent place to call home, and this is home, and I don't care where you live, the streets can be as safe as you want them to be, and I want our streets to be safe for our children, to be able to play in the front yard or the backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Briley. Mr. Daniel?
Well, one of my key concerns is balance, and that means that we have a balance between the growth, which can be expensive if we don't manage it right, and the quality of life, the way we can relax and be neighbors, come to each other's aid at times of great crash, like the tornado. And so I really think that's where we need to be.
Mr. Sorino?
For dealing with my expectation for the 20 years vision, I know the growth is going to be more than double, or nearly double. The population of the Rutherford County, I expect to be probably about 350,000 population. So the growth have to be prepared and planned for it, the housing, school.
Thank you, Mr. Sorino. Ms. Ely?
My vision for Rutherford County includes an emphasis on job growth. Businesses locating and relocating here in Rutherford County. Businesses expanding their facilities here in Rutherford County. This would create increased job opportunities for our Rutherford County students, as well as those graduating from MTSU. I would also envision that we protect those things that contribute to our quality of life and make Rutherford County a good place to live.
Thank you, Ms. Ely. Mr. Fancher?
You know, I agree with Ms. Ely on most of those things, but I guess I differ on some principles issues. The direction I'd like to lead Rutherford County is one toward lower taxes and less government spending, something that we haven't been able to do in the past 20 years. We need to make sure our local economy is very diverse and yet ready to handle the changes that the next 20 years will bring our way. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher. Okay, Mr. Gooch, you'll answer this question first, and it is, how have your experiences prepared you for this job?
Other than serving on the county commission, being a store manager for Walgreens has given me insight on how to treat people fairly and in a consistent manner. It has also given me insight on how to run government the way that an efficient business would run itself. Also, it has given me insight on the consequences of regulation and taxes on businesses and job growth. As past Vice President of the Murfreesboro JCs, I developed a sense of community and the importance of public service.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. Mr. Jordan?
Well, being a law enforcement officer for the city, county, and state levels, and a negotiator for 12 years, I've worked in many communities and listened to the needs and the wants. And as your county commissioner, I will be your voice in the decisions that the commissioners that we all make.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you.
Ms. Briley?
At Nissan, I worked in many different areas. I helped in the community cares, where we went out to the VA home. I had a peer review group that I worked on that would look over the employees that had corrective action. Also, I had a management group that I worked with for 18 months, and I'd just like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this. Thank you.
Mr. Daniel?
I served on the Legal Aid Society board as a representative of our Bar Association for all Middle Tennessee back in the 20-year period from 86 to 1006. And incidental to my trial practice, I handled hundreds of Social Security cases which people desperately needed their benefits.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Mr. Serino?
By serving in various activities, also civic organizations, I love and enjoy. I have experience on that, and so I continue to support. And also, I am open-minded and to always good listening to any issue, any individual who has concern. I'm so delighted to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Ms. Ely?
I am a mother. I have raised 2 children. I was a classroom teacher for 30 years. I have served on various committees during my tenure on the commission, and this has given me a working knowledge of county government. I have facilitated the budget cycles as chairman of the Budget and Finance Investment Committee, and this has given me a broad perspective of the needs of the county.
Thank you, Ms. Ely. Mr. Fancher?
I've managed millions of dollars as a financial planner for Wells Fargo. I've supervised employees at UPS. I earned an MBA in finance from MTSU, and I currently run a small business. I'm also a father of 2 great little girls, and I'm a husband to a wonderful wife. Each of these items has taught me about leadership. I know that to be an effective leader, a few of the qualities you need are to be honest, intelligent, and courageous to do the right thing. I possess all of these traits, otherwise I would not have run for this office.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher.
Thank you.
Mr. Irwin?
My degree in business, being a father, being a husband to a great family, law enforcement officer, all these have taught me life skills. It's taught me what it takes in order to be successful. And I think just relying on my Christian values as a human being and knowing how to do business things and keep my head straight and make sure I'm an honest person would help me.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. We're now going to have our last question, in which you'll have a minute to answer. If you wanted to answer the question, and then with any follow-up that you want to add. The question goes to you, Mr. Jordan, first, and it is, how do you balance expectations of constituents with budget constraints?
Well, if we have enough money in the budget to meet the expectation of our constituencies, then we can take care of our constituencies. But if we don't have enough, then I, as a commissioner, would fulfill the expectations little by little as we can until we have enough money to reach our constituencies' expectations.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Ms. Briley?
I know as the price of things go up, along is the taxes will have to be increased at a minimum, I hope. I plan on trying to do the Dave Ramsey method, beans and rice, rice and beans. I don't want to spend where we don't have to. If it takes tightening our belts at home as well as in office, that's what we have to do. And I just, want to make the best and wisest decisions I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Briley. Mr. Daniel?
Well, I'm concerned, and I want to make a point right here, that we need to settle our legal difficulties. We've got to find some way to get our whole system working in the right direction and not being sued all the time. Now, anybody can sue us and they'll come in and try to do it. But if we start winning a few, the enthusiasm will go out of that. And from my experience as a trial lawyer, I would say we need to do that. Now, in addition, I'm concerned that you can't balance expectations all the time. Sometimes you just can't do it. And if you can't, then what do? You have to try. Maybe half a loaf is better than none, but be fair to all the different elements when you do it, because, as I said in the beginning, balance is the key to our government.
Thank you. Mr. Serino?
I know budget is a very important issue and have to say it is very important, so we have to think about, what we need to do about budget, because nowadays it's very important too, because we have to listen to the concern of the constituent, and also the budget committee has to be very careful and monitor whatever area that we have to need to spend in wisely.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Ms. Ely?
If I had my way, and if it were a perfect world, I would vote to fund all of the budget, all of the requests. However, the reality is the county has a limited revenue stream. The major source of revenue for the county is the property tax, and that's where it gets into my personal pocket and the pockets of all of you constituents. This is an important example of when open communication, good dialogue, input from your constituency is of a paramount importance, so that I can say to a constituent, tell me what is important to you, or I can ask the question, are you willing to pay higher property tax in order to pay for the service that you are requesting?
Thank you, Ms. Ely. Mr. Fancher?
Through educating the public of what the job of government really is, and that's to keep the people free. It's not to be a nanny state. Most of the people I talk to don't know that the county has $500 million in debt, nor do they know that the county has $70 million stashed away in a rainy day fund. When you talk to families, what they really want, they want an honest government, and they want an honest and forthright government. As long as you provide that, I think they'll understand when you have to cut back. In closing, our conservative values are being attacked at all angles. Some would say Rutherford County's never had a conservative county commission. We need good leaders to step up and to push forward a conservative agenda that is in line with the values of Rutherford County, and I'm that man. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher. Mr. Irwin?
I think we need to get the people in the community involved. People have not been involved in government for years. You know, some of the sitting commissioners up here say, you know, they're constituents, but everybody I talked to, when I went around through the neighborhoods in my district talking to people, nobody doesn't even know who their county commissioners are. You know, we have to get them involved in government. We have to get them involved in the decisions that they want to make. We have to have periodic meetings and find out what's on their mind, what's on their agenda, and then try to budget it in. And if it can't be done, meet with them again and say, hey, you've got your choice. These are the choices we have. Which ones would you like to work on? Which ones would you like to just toss and forget about? And we need to get the community involved again. You know, I just really don't think people are involved as they should be. You know, some of the people don't even know who their leaders of the governments are, and we need to change that. People need to get involved and understand how government works again.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Mr. Gooch?
Thank you. I believe that it's important that a county commissioner be able to listen to their constituents and emphasize with their needs. I think that what is important to your constituents should be important to the county commissioner and their ability to bring those ideas back to the commission. I think we need to set priorities and communicate those priorities to our constituents and work together to do what we can with what's in our budget. In closing, I firmly believe that growth and quality of life can go hand in hand. That most growth, if done in the right way, can complement our quality of life and enhance our quality of life. But some don't, and we must be careful. For example, if outside developers come into our communities and try to develop, for example, a major theme park or a major tourist destination in our residential subdivisions, we must have the ability to say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. Once again, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, and Rutherford County Office of Technology, I want to thank all the candidates for their participation tonight. I also want to recognize Brian Robertson and the staff of the County Technology Office for their cooperation in presenting this program on Governmental Channel 19. I want to remind all citizens to go to the polls on August the 5th to exercise their important right to determine who represents them, as well as voting on the other positions that are available. Early voting is July the 16th through the 31st. May we close with a round of applause for all of the candidates.